Hello and welcome. My name is Zara, and now we're talking about Neptune going direct for the last time in our lifetime. We will never see Neptune in Pisces. So Neptune will go direct on the 10th of December 2025, where it will remain in Pisces until the 26th of January 2026. And then we are saying goodbye to Neptune in Pisces. And what a journey it has been. Neptune first entered into Pisces in 2011, 14 years ago. And this has been influencing you and your life. Now I'm going to get into how it's influencing all 12 signs. I do have a guidebook for 2026 giving you the astrology of 2026 for all 12 signs. Yes, you can purchase it for your sun, your rising sign, and your moon sign. But if there's one that you must purchase, definitely the rising sign. But you can always look at your sun, moon, and rising at this. That gives you a holistic understanding. And as well as for this video, do look at your sun, moon, and rising, especially from derivative astrology. This is how it's influencing you. Okay, so let's talk about Neptune and Pisces. Neptune entered into Pisces in 2011. What is the shadow of Neptune in Pisces? Neptune in Pisces creates confusion, a fog. So from 2011, we've been dealing with the confusion, the fog, okay? It just makes things misunderstood around us and we don't understand things, and it just seems like we can't get a grip on it. It also is hard to see the truth clearly through this fog. It creates uncertainty. It creates this energy of like, a mirage. What you think is real is not necessarily real. So situations feel very blurry and delays. It can be very misleading. Illusions and fantasy. People project what they want rather than what's real. Okay. And it also creates a sense of escapism, avoiding responsibilities through distractions and addictions. Yes, drugs, alcohol, love, social media, whatever it may be. This is where we give in to our weaknesses and we escape. This can be any type of addiction that we do in order to not face reality. Whether that is like nail biting and you're stressed and you're not dealing with the situation and you're biting your nails. Whether you are giving into something that's an addictive habit of yours to not deal with what is in front of you. Deception, hidden information, unclear motives, and trusting the wrong people. Feeling drained and overwhelmed and taken advantage of. See, where Neptune is, there is no boundaries. Neptune also can rule over infection. So I want you to think about your immune system, and when they say your immune system is weak, an infection sets in. Okay, it gets in easier because your immune system is weak. So this is what I like to also think of when we're talking about boundaries. Think of it like your boundaries become weaker, and so this is where we get infected by situations that lack truth. It's what we project onto situations as well. It's like sometimes you shouldn't be running outside in the snow and you still go ahead and do what you shouldn't necessarily be doing. And this creates a situation. So you shouldn't be running outside. You should, make sure that you're doing things to improve your immune system, sleeping well, not overstressing. But hey, we're human and we live and we want to have fun, and these are the things that we do, right? So it's not just that your immune system is weak. There is a sense of like, I just want to give into the fun of life. I want to run outside in the rain. I don't need a jacket. I don't need to, I'm going to just be partying late nights and I'm not going to take care of my health. There are people too with impaired health and immunity as well. But I'm just talking now. Obviously, this is now a blanket notion that I'm giving about Neptune, how it rules over infections. And it's like your immune system's weakened boundaries. But it's also in the essence of certain things that we can't do unless this is something health related to your physical body, like where you are born with a condition that impairs your health, your immune system. And obviously, there would be certain health routines that you would need to follow. as well, and a regiment in what you can do to improve that or to live with it. But ideally, when it comes to Neptune, in how I'm describing it to you, it's what we project. So it's like, I know if I'm going to overwork and overstress and go out late nights, I am not going to have the best immune system out there, am I now? I'm just projecting fun and escaping reality and just living for the moment and not being wise and taking better care of myself. See, Neptune is not here as the planet that's just going to come in and ruin your life. I don't want to give you that notion. It's coming in and it's going to ruin my life. It's going to show you where you have those weak boundaries. Where are you just living in the fantasy and not the reality? Okay. So the positives of Neptune, right? Spiritual awakening, deep intuition, psychic download, strong connection to your higher self. This makes you extremely intuitive. See, with Neptune, you got to pay attention to that gut instinct that tells you shouldn't do the thing that you're doing. Your first notion, not after you've talked yourself out of it. You meet someone and you just get a vibe and you shouldn't be at wrong place, wrong time. And you don't trust that. That's Neptune. Neptune is that intuitive notion within you that you need to make a move. Okay, it's that thing like that. It's your fight or flight kind of energy. I remember this specifically. Like, I was in a situation where I was visiting a place which I normally do every single afternoon for my afternoon tea. And, I don't know what it is. And as I sat down and the lady says to me, "Hey, Sarah, you want your tea?" And I was coming in there like, I'm about to make it now, so I'm going to make it for you. And I just said, I can't. I need to leave. And I walk out. And 10 minutes later, the place obviously got robbed. My point being is Neptune is that energy of trusting that gut instinct, that, thing that tells you just on sight, like, I need to go. This doesn't feel right. And you don't know why. It's not even loud. It's not like a loud noise. It's just something that feels off. And learning to trust that. That's Neptune. That's Neptune at its highest vibration. That deep knowing is not excusing the red flags. It's that knowing and going with it. Creativity. Neptune gives us the ability to dream. It's art, it's music, it's our imagination. Neptune opens us to the channel of inspiration. It's where all our creativity comes from. It's those ideas that you don't know, but you just know you need to follow through on. Compassion, more empathy. It is the energy of healing, empathy, forgiveness of self. It's not to judge you because maybe you gave your power away. It is saying, hey, it's okay. Forgive yourself. Forgiveness on a soul level of understanding others. It's that empathy. It's the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes. That is Neptune. Okay? It's manifestation through faith. It is when we want miracles. It's when everything seems like the odds are stacked against us, but we're believing in something higher than ourselves to help us. It's where we trust in that higher power through taking action, yes, but after that action, surrendering it to the divine of what needs to be shall be for me. It's divine guidance, it's signs, it's synchronicities, it's the real deeper truth. It's the deep truth that there's something more beyond ourselves and this world. That is Neptune. Neptune is looking at the ocean and being mesmerized by the divine creation and connecting to that power, knowing, you know what? There's something bigger out there for me. So it's not just about following through like, oh, I have a dream, but it's that action that you take. It's that, being at the right place, right time. It's that faith. It's that when you get taken up by an idea, you trust in it and you follow through on it through action, yes, and allowing it to manifest. The surrendering of Neptune is the most powerful thing. Okay, the deep truth about Neptune. Neptune does not confuse you for no reason, because Neptune can get a lot of hate. It dissolves things. It shows you where you lack. It dissolves what is fake so the real can appear. It shows you where you just dream a beautiful dream and project that dream onto your entire life, on your money, on your relationships, on your health, and everything in between, without taking the necessary logical approach too. So dream all you can dream, but be real too. It's where reality can meet fantasy through that bridge of Neptune and make it a reality. Okay. When you're aligned, it becomes magic. When you're disconnected, it becomes chaos. It becomes a chaos of you lose yourself and you feel isolated and alone. But remember, why are you alone? So you can connect to a higher power. So you can connect to the divine. So you can connect to something more powerful than yourself and reach out and say, yes, yes, things are chaos right now and I'm alone and I got to do this alone. But I know I'm not alone because I believe in something higher than myself. See, Neptune will push you to believe in something higher than yourself. Right? That is Neptune. It wants you to believe in something more magical, more powerful, something that connects you to humanity, to a higher consciousness, to your higher self. Okay? And now we're going to get into the signs. Aries, since 2011, you've been releasing old versions of yourself. And this was all behind the scenes. This would have been extremely exhausting. Some of you would have felt very isolated. This would have also influenced your health as well on a mental, emotional, and subconscious level. So this was either seeking some sort of healing, whether that is through a life coach, a therapist, a spiritual practitioner. It was a spiritual journey for you as well as hospitals. This was when you went through a spiritual purge, hidden endings and emotional confusion. See, this created a lot of hidden enemies. People that you trusted that betrayed you on a deep level. People that behind your back did things. And this created the sense of loss and grief. See, Neptune was dissolving what wasn't real. And maybe where you also gave this feeling and hoping for this person to be the ideal person, or you trusted them, and didn't have that boundary. Remember, Neptune here shows us where we dissolve our boundaries and we just show our compassion and our soft side, and we don't take into account who is truly there for us. And some of this would have been partly through that, and some of it just would have been hidden dynamics you didn't see. These would have been the years of major truth revelations. The truths that stirred your very soul and asked you to reinvent yourself. From your closest relationships, dissolving, losses, grief. This could have even been endings. Like one minute you're close with someone and either they are no longer there. It can even create a sense of loss through that person no longer being in your life, where they pass, or whether that situation just comes to an end. And it creates this emptiness within you that left you seeking a higher power, a healing, a spiritual awakening, the downloads, and a lot of emotional confusion. And the words wouldn't have came out right when you tried to explain what you were feeling. Even addictions to love, relationships, people, situations, food, TV. Think of everything that we can't let go of that is toxic to us. This would have showed it to you. Now, finally, the fog lifts. Your intuition becomes sharp. A spiritual gift awakens. Your purpose becomes clear. You also stop abandoning your inner voice. This is what this was trying to teach you. Every time you abandon that inner voice and you look to the red flag and you'll be like, oh, never mind. This is saying trust your dreams, trust your intuition, trust your gut feelings. Trust the part of you that can see through the deception that other people try to create. The illusions. See through that and trust that voice and find your voice. And that is your gift that you are receiving. Taurus. Since 2011, Neptune was dissolving friendships, communities, spaces, and collaborations. This would have been a very confusing time for you because say you have a product and you're trying to sell it. It's almost as if there's a confusion in the people that are supporting you. One minute they're supporting you, the next minute they're not supporting you. You know, changes would have happened. This could even be changes like, think of it this way, you're working at a company and they're on board, right? And they love what you're putting out there. They love what you're selling. They love what you're doing. And the next minute the company takes over, is being taken over by someone else. And now this is creating a whole lot of confusion. Now they don't have your support. See, Neptune was dissolving communities and also showing where you hoped and wished a community, whether that is a community like your corporations that you work for, the job, the people that you surround yourself with via choice, the family group, the work group, the people you choose to associate with, right, by choice, the friends, whatever group you were in. It's like the team was on again, off again, and you were seeking who could truly be a part of your spiritual tribe. You know, the people that is your soul tribe, the people who get you, whether that's the work that you're doing, because you spend a lot of time there, whether that is, you know, the friends that you keep, whether it's the family you choose to surround yourself with, whether it's the hobby group that you have. See, Neptune would have been dissolving and you would have found yourself changing communities a lot throughout these years. And this would have also created deceptions, manipulations, especially within communities. You know, maybe you join a spiritual organization or maybe you're joining a church, but all of a sudden everything is not what it seems to be. And you trusted people that weren't aligned or carried or drained you, right? You carried people who drained you, and now you are truly defining the boundary. Even when it came to wish fulfillment for what you wanted for yourself, it would have been dissolved. It's almost like you can touch your dream and then the dream is gone. Now, finally, you see who your supporters are. Not only do you see who your supporters are, you finally get wish fulfillment. You attract the right people at the right time and opportunities for support, even on a financial level, because think about it. These are collaborations. The people you collaborate with, you're going to find the support. You're going to find the support. You're going to find the community. You're going to find the people that are truly aligned to you, and you are going to get some form of wish fulfillment once Neptune says goodbye to Pisces, as you gain clarity on your future vision and dreams for yourself. Gemini, since 2011, this was truly hard. This was also your reputation. It was your career. It's your legacy. It's your sense of purpose. And there would have been so much of fogginess around career, ambitions, goals. It's like one minute you were taking action and you're building to where you want to go, and then you lose traction. Okay? Nothing feels stable in your career. Nothing feels true within your career and your reputation. So it's, you know, when it's our reputation, it's the things we connect ourselves to, the friends group that's part of your reputation, right? It's who we project out into the world that we are. And people would have been so confused by who you are, right? They wouldn't have been able to see the real you. And some people would have also tried to present themselves to you as a version of themselves that they're not, right? A lot of projection here. Your career path would have been very foggy. Unclear bosses, unstable positions, fake promises, and sudden detours. It's like you're working there, the company closes down. The boss that you had, you know, now get the company's taken over by a new person, and now you have a new employer, and now they're looking at you in a different way. Your reputation. Maybe they don't trust you. Maybe they're projecting that you did something that you didn't do. Retrenchments. It was an energy of being dissolved. And maybe you having this idealized vision with your career that everything is going to be okay without looking at the logistics of it. See, Neptune shows us where we have this vision, this projection of what we want things to be, But is it really that? It's like you have that boss that is being sneaky or not honest with you, but you stay. You don't think about like trying for something new. And then you're stuck in this perpetual cycle of things being dissolved, and then next thing it's dissolved and the career's not there and the boss is not there. Now you need to find something new. But it was pushing you towards your dream, and some of you would have landed some dream opportunities too. Now your lane though finally truly opens. You gain the clarity. The illusion of jobs ends. You step into a whole new path that actually aligns with who you're becoming, because this is your reputation, your legacy, your sense of purpose. And career clarity is here, and real direction, and also your sense of purpose, like your legacy after you cease to be here. What do people know you for? Who are you? This becomes clear, and you solidify it as well of this is who I am, and I embrace me as I am. This was truly teaching you self-acceptance and letting go of the projections of society and what they want you to be: the wife, the mother, the husband, the marriage, the job. This is you being you and attaining your success on your terms, career, ambitions, legacy, and sense of purpose. So yes, if you're not working, this is your legacy. Who do you want to be known for? Cancer, Neptune was dissolving studies for you. So trying to study, getting anything to do with higher education. Maybe you needed like funding and that would have fell through. Maybe you were trying to study and you would have failed, right? Neptune here will show you those things, creating failures in terms of higher education, your expansion and growth. It would have tested your beliefs, especially what you believe about yourself. It was your spiritual awakening. It was also like your spiritual point of view, what you believe and what you have faith in, as well as traveling. There would have been a lot of delays, detours, and even if you're trying to relocate or moving to a foreign location, it would just felt so unstable. Like you get there, the logistics, but it's unstable. And if you haven't got there, the delays, right? The delays, things are taking so long. There's so much to do. Oh, and you're like, oh no. Now you gain clarity as Neptune goes direct, and you know what you truly believe, what path you want to go in terms of study, travel, teaching, and you find stability in foreign locations too. This is your soul's mission. It's your spiritual chapter coming to a close. See, this was a test of faith, that even when you fail, you're not a failure. And even when things become delayed, to still have faith. The more faith you would have had, the more opportunities you would have gained. But you would have also had to use the logical notion of taking steps and actions too. This also talks about legal matters. Since 2011, a lot of you would have had a lot of confusing legal issues, or, especially divorces, separations, truths being revealed. These are the truths, like you might have believed in that person, believed in your spouse, or believed in this relationship, or believed in that father figure, and then it would have been dissolved. Anything you believed in, for you to question your beliefs. What do you believe? Where are you projecting faith without looking at the character? A lot of tests, a lot of truths, a lot of healing. And this was your spiritual chapter now coming to a close. And now you're going to get that dream. You're going to get that dream of expansion and growth, of how you want to grow. A lot of you are going to get that soul mission fulfillment. And don't forget these lessons. Remember them as you embark on your next journey with Neptune in Aries. Leo, the light of our lives. Yes, you always brighten up the room, but the journey you've been on since 2011? Dark night of the soul. See, people don't know the things that Leos go through on their own, and Leo placements. See, they're the light, so they radiate light. So everyone sees this brightness, this spark, this joy, but they don't know what is going on behind the scenes. So this is where shared resources would have been very blurry. Debts, loans, taxes, inheritances, confusion, blurry, delays. There's also losses, grief, pain, trauma. Seeking someone to help you through traumatic experiences, whether that's a life coach, a counselor, an astrologer. Get delving into astrology yourself. This would have been really challenging. Maybe you thought you'd be able to pay this long-term loan off, and the next thing there's more expenses coming through and it's just delaying it. This would have really asked you to plan long-term financially, but you would always feel like, I'm so confused with the direction that I'm going. This created confusion in your most intimate relationships. A lot of you dealt with betrayals of trust being broken since 2011, intimate matters, that partner that came in like the dream and then left just as quickly when you wake up, right? This would have created so many falsehoods within intimate connections, even the people you trust. So it doesn't only have to be, the person that you're intimate with on a physical level, on a love level. It can also be the friend you tell all your secrets to. And now those secrets are out. Betrayals, loss, this is like power games and manipulations that you would have dealt with. You would have been triggered here. Triggered and felt delayed even when it came to intimacy. Like you might feel like I got so close to intimacy or real intimacy, and then there was a dissolving of that. Either the person walked away, they betrayed you, they passed on, right? This was dissolving of a lot in your life and needing to trust your intuition. It was deep, dark night of the soul, trusting yourself more than anything else, because this was your intuition and embracing the parts of life of death, birth, and rebirth. What comes to an end will begin again in a new way, but still, being reborn. It's transformation. It's alchemy. It's very powerful. Now the truth arrives going forward. You gain the clarity on your intimate relationships and the people that you trust and who to trust. You understand what you owe, what you own, and what was done, what you're done carrying, because there's been an emotional weight on you for years, especially with power games and manipulations in relationships. It was deep. And also, if you had a spouse during this time, there would have been a lot of confusion with their money. Blurry lines. Maybe they borrowed a lot more money. Maybe you borrowed a lot more money. This will create a lot of confusion there. Now your partner's money also becomes smooth. So spouses too. And financial transformation finally begins, and you reap the rewards in sense of the dream of financial stability through what you want. You can see things clearly. You have that new sense of faith restored within yourself. And you learn to trust your gut when it comes to your intimate relationships. And you will now align to that dream intimate relationship. Where's the friend you tell your secrets to, or whether that's the person that you are intimate with. You have this depth of self now. Virgo, I have no words. The challenges you had in terms of relationships were like nothing ever you've experienced since 2011. This would have given so much unclear boundaries in personal and professional relationships, unreliable partners, deceptions, lies, business, romantic, contracts being unclear. In 1 minute you promise this, the next minute at work you're getting something else. Whether you at work for yourself too, clients as well. This was creating a lot of lack of clarity within your relationships. Roles being blurred, expectations being vague. This wasn't giving you any clarity in your relationships. Confusion, fog, a lot of deceptions, mistreatment. Savior. You need to play savior within your relationships. And then next thing you know, you're the victim of someone else's deception, personal and professional. Now clarity arrives. You know clearly what you need to do. You choose partners who meet your standards, personal and professional. You stop saving people. I repeat, you stop saving people. No one needs to be saved. You can help them, but you don't need to save them. You attract aligned partnerships personally and professionally. And this gives you a new sense of who you are. So anytime someone was opposite you, this was creating very blurry boundaries. You would have felt sorry for them. Maybe you lent their friend money and then you didn't hear back from them. Maybe you trusted the wrong person. Now you gain clarity. Now you stand your ground. You tell it like it is. You ain't afraid to lose what was never real to begin with, because that's what clarity gives you. And it gives you the opportunity to go and find what you truly find fulfilling within your partnerships on a personal and professional level. I love this for you. This is exciting. So do let me know down below in the comments, how were, the time since 2011 and where are you currently? Libra, since 2011, this would have challenged your day-to-day routine, your health. This would have been inconsistency at work. Maybe, your schedule keeps getting changed. Maybe your health takes priority. Then you can't keep up with your schedule, work schedule shifting, burnout cycles, overworking, then not being able to work. Health habits didn't stick. Your health would have been so confusing. Trying to get a diagnosis is confusing. One minute you have this, next minute you have that. You are feeling exhausted. This was very exhausting. This would have created a lot of open enemies for you too as well. People that you were like, wait, what? Especially with co-workers. And you really having to find the dream of alignment with the work community that fits you. Boundaries were necessary. This is where also acts of service. You were over giving. There's like anyone needs help, you there. Anyone needs support, you there. You were everything to everyone and no one to yourself. And already you are Libra, so you naturally appease the other person, but this was acts of service. This was influencing how much do you serve people? Where do you give your services for free? Yes, if you were someone that had services that you offer, you would find yourself giving it away. Now, structure replaces the fog. You see exactly who supports your well-being and productivity. And this also influences your income. See, the more productive you can be, the way you can gain more. So now you're very aware who's the open enemy. You're very aware of the work situations that are toxic and what changes you need to make. Some of you would have also gotten the dream job where you would be fulfilling that in this time, especially if you stuck to your boundaries. If not, there would have been a lack of clarity. Now you reclaim power of your day-to-day life and you find success. And when it comes to your health as well. Do comment down below, how has it been since 2011? And finally, you're going to gain the clarity and have the dream for what you want within your work life and within your health. As now you can stick to those health changes you want to make. You can stick to the routine. You can find the stability you need going forward. Now remember, your birth chart is unique to you. So sharing your placements, I believe I will be able to share more insights in the comments. Scorpio, since 2011, you've been dealing with a lot of betrayals in love. This was romance. Romance would have been very confusing. And even if you were in a healthy relationship, the confusion would have created like challenges when it came to dating and like absolutely making time for it. This would have also challenged your sense of faith and hope and joy. Majority of its joy, your happiness. Childhood wounds would have resurfaced you. This is what it was bringing up for you, childhood wounds, things that have hurt previously in the past. Neptune here was teaching you how to heal these parts of yourself. This would have also created a lot of either falling pregnant unexpectedly because Neptune hides things, right? What we don't see until then we find out. And then also challenges if you were trying to actively conceive. Neptune creates illusions, confusions, delays, and you would have had to seek out other ways in order to conceive. When it came to having kids and children, there could have been confusion around kids, maybe with scheduling. If you were sharing custody, this would have created a lot of issues. And even if you weren't sharing custody, just the schedule, the day-to-day of your kids would have just created a lot of confusion. Creative projects, you would have to trust yourself, your intuition, and have faith. There would have been a lot of confusion and delays when working on any creative projects during this time. Now going forward, you gain the clarity. You know what you want when it comes to your children. You have the motivation. This is you also gaining clarity over what gives you joy and happiness. And you can truly move forward with what you want in terms of success when it comes to your joy, your happiness, and what makes you feel good. Romantically, fun, pleasure, your inner child, and with children if you have children. Sagittarius, this will create a lot of confusion when it came to your family, right? And home life. This is like you either trying to rent a place, buy a place, there's delays, maybe the deal falls through, maybe you tried to rent a place and maybe there was confusion over the documentation with landlords. This wouldn't have been easy, as well as family dynamics. Yes, there would have been a lot of healing you would need to do. A lot of you would have even seeked out some form of coaching, counseling, therapy in order to understand yourself on a deep emotional level and to create strong emotional foundations. You would have gone through the fog here emotionally, and with anyone that you emotionally connected to. This does rule over family, but think of anyone you emotionally have a relationship with. Things will be very confusing. Bloodlines with emotions. This is where you need to really trust your intuition if you wanted to really know what's going on. People could have been very emotionally deceptive, manipulative. There would have been uncertainty and definitely blurred boundaries in terms of where you are overextending yourself, either with people you emotionally give to, like with your heart, or with family. Now going forward, you know what home means to you, what you want within your home. You gain clarity with Neptune going direct from December 10th. And you also get the dream idealization that you want, the faith that you've had that's been tested. Now you can create the home, you can create the family. You know, you can also gain clarity over domestic living situations, anyone you shared space with. Family patterns become obvious to you, right? You can see your family patterns. You are entering a chapter where you're closing out what emotionally brought instability to your life. The family patterns, emotional baggage, past relationships, uncertainty, overgiving emotionally within relationships, no boundaries here. They finally become very clear. And you now find the emotional security and stability you need. You have that dream of what you want within your emotions, you achieve it. And as well as when it comes to your physical home, you achieve what it is you desire. Comment your placements and I will respond to you in the comments. Remember, your birth chart is unique to you. Capricorn, since 2011, this was testing your mind. So mentally, this would have been mental health patterns, maybe seeking help. This would have also created misunderstandings, how you were being perceived by others. There could have also been deceptions in communication. There would have been a lot of confusion and uncertainty when it came to siblings, relatives, neighbors. This was your communication and was influencing your communication. So things would have been very confusing in terms of communication as a whole. Delays when communicating to others, being, misunderstood. Neptune creates that fog. People mentally, playing mind games too with you, needing to have strong mental barriers, right? Maybe you were overthought, old situations. This could also brought that up. This is where you were healing and learning to find your voice. So some of you would have really, seeked out, some form of therapy, someone where you could express yourself, maybe even singing, some form of therapy for healing when it comes to your voice and sense of self-expression. You'd have also learned to communicate clearly, to say what you mean and mean what you say. Before you would say something and maybe felt uncertain about what someone else said. Now you clarify that. Going forward, this is really great. Okay, because now you have the skills and the tools to move forward. At the same time, it would have created confusion when it came to sales, deals, contracts. So maybe you got a job to work at this place, but the contract was misleading. Any contract, in fact, that you signed. Okay, this is read marriages too. Think of a contract. The moment you sign a contract, it's not what you think it is. Neptune creates that confusion around contracts, deals, negotiations, communications. It's like for you're going through this long period of a Mercury retrograde. And now you're finding, and even you would have felt mentally foggy. If you were trying to study something, it would have taken a bit longer. Challenges with learning, right? Maybe you had to rethink your budget, especially it creates delays. And you having to restructure things. Now going forward, you can finally express yourself, communicate. The contracts and deals that felt delayed before come through. Dream jobs can come through contracts. Dream connections can come through for you. And this is also you finding your voice and knowing what you want and expressing yourself and stating that and receiving exactly what you want going forward. Do comment your placements. Your birth chart is unique to you and I will respond to you in the comments. Aquarius. Neptune since 2011 was creating, you to ask who you are in terms of your sense of self-worth. Your income would have been inconsistent. You would have either undercharged or you would have been receiving an inconsistent payout based on your skills and talents. You might have even given your time away for free, volunteered to work, or overextended yourself at work and not being paid. Had a lot of financial instability, maybe even blurred boundaries with finances. You would have given money to people and you wouldn't have received it. People deceiving you about finances. Financial scammers would have been a thing as well. This you can really see playing out, especially if you work shift work and hour work and you get paid for overtime. So your money would have been fluctuating. You would really have to trust your intuition and define your boundaries for their financial stability. And the wrong people. Maybe you got the wrong job and that job said they promised you XYZ and next thing they didn't deliver. Maybe there would have been changes in companies and you would have been retrenched, let go of over something that didn't make any sense to you. This would have created a lot of confusion, especially to your income and your skills and talents, people undervaluing you. I would also say this influenced relationships because it was your sense of self-worth. So maybe you involved yourself in relationships as well, whether it's a friend, a lover, whoever that took advantage of you on a financial capacity. Finally, you gaining the clarity, you defining your sense of self-worth. You will reap the rewards. Clarity lands here. Any financial manipulations land. You see your sense of self-worth. You price yourself appropriately in terms of when you have to get a job. This is where you see your skills, you see yourself as worthy. And within your relationships, you're not worth what people want from you financially. You're worth so much more. And this is where you don't borrow out money to people who take advantage of you, because people are going to financially take an advantage of you. Either try to, make you believe that you owe them, guilt trip you financially, would have played the victim financially. A lot of things here would have influenced you financially and your sense of self-worth. You would have questioned your worth. Why do people treat me this way? All I do is care and they don't care in return. So your sense of self-worth would have needed to go through a whole extensive healing. Now finally you do. And as you do, you know your worth, you know what you deserve, you know your value. And this is where you align to not just financial opportunities, but relationships, and you regain financial stability with the boundaries you now have in place. Comment your placements, your birth chart is unique to you, and I will respond in the comments. Pisces, this would have been exhausting. Your identity would have dissolved and needed to be rebuilt. Meaning you would see very clearly where you overextend yourself, where you give too much, where you take an advantage, where you give without receiving. You would have just tried to help everyone and would have felt deceived, lied to, scammed, taken for a ride, betrayals, losses when it came to money, finances. This would have influenced your health, your well-being, mentally, emotionally, physically. You were drained and dragged emotionally by people who took advantage of you. People would have projected onto you. People would have made you feel inferior, less than, unworthy, undesirable. People would have wanted you to just hold space for them and never give back and in return. You were just there to be the emotional punching bag. You were there to be the one that they relied upon, the one who they would call upon. And they would have projected their own insecurities, doubts, and pain onto you. And the manipulation would have just felt so heavy. And you had to keep on rebuilding yourself with this new identity, becoming stronger, becoming wiser, learning where you can't just, have no boundaries, right? You learn to trust your intuition. Your intuition would have sparked that red flag and you would be like, oh, I can see it. But you know what? When Neptune's there, sometimes it shows us where we just give in. We hope for the best without being logical about it and praying about it being the best. So many things would have been dissolved out of your life, from your home, your living situation. Yes, Neptune here can influence your home, your living, your physical body, even changes within your body, not understanding them, weight, having to dig deeper, not being able to have diagnoses. This energy of Neptune really influences you on a physical, mental, emotional level. It's heavy. It's not easy. But you have to keep rebuilding, restructuring who you are, what you want financially, what you want in a partnership, what you want within your home, what you want within your physical body. Where do you draw the line? When is enough enough? When can you say no? Powerful, right? Now you know who you are. The fog clears around your purpose, your confidence, and your self-image. And now you can go forth and achieve your dreams by just knowing who you are, what you want. You can achieve it because now you know the path, and now you know I need to take action. I need to be logical about this. I have a dream, but it's going to come through me logically also pursuing it and also surrendering and having faith, because Neptune is where we do that. But you will reap the rewards for the efforts you've been doing over these years of rebuilding yourself and learning about boundaries and trusting your intuition and having faith in something higher than you, because this was a spiritual journey and awakening. This is your moment. Okay, do comment your placements. Remember, your birth chart is unique to you, and I will respond to you in the comments. Neptune in Pisces, final message. December 10th until January 2026, the 26th. It's going to give you clarity, right? This is where the finale of what needs to come to a close comes to a close. Illusions break, truth being revealed, clarity enters. And this gives you the opportunity to go after what you want, the dream you hold for yourself in any area of life that Neptune was influencing you, so you can achieve it with the clarity you know you now have and the boundaries you now have. You come out a whole different level of you, more compassionate, more forgiving towards yourself, so you can achieve the dreams you hold in your heart.